The kitchen was suffocatingly quiet, save for the faint rustle of my father's newspaper. My coffee sat untouched, a cold ring forming around the mug as my mother's icy words sliced through the air. You need to give your brother your savings for his wedding. He deserves it more than you do. Her voice was sharp, unwavering, like she'd rehearsed it. I stared at her dumbfounded, my chest tightening. This was our family home in Charlotte, a place I once thought I belonged. Now it felt like a battlefield. I'm Sophia Carter, 30 years old. A financial advisor who spends her days helping people secure their futures. The irony wasn't lost on me as I sat there, my own mother dismantling mine. What do you mean? I whispered, barely audible over the thudding in my ears. That's $85,000, Mom. My life savings. I've worked years for that. My mother, Margaret, leaned back in her chair, her lips curling into that condescending smirk she'd mastered. Sophia, don't be dramatic. Daniel wants a destination wedding in the Bahamas. His fiancée, Lauren, comes from the prestigious Hayes family, old money, big names. We can't look cheap next to them. I shot a glance at my father, Henry, hoping for a lifeline. But he just flipped another page. His face buried in print, dodging the storm as always. Dad, I pleaded silently. Nothing. He'd always been the peacemaker, by which I mean he let Mom steamroll us all. That's my security, Mom. I pressed, gripping the mug so hard my knuckles blanched. My future. She waved a dismissive hand. And what future is that? No boyfriend, no ring. Daniel's found someone. He deserves this. The Hayes are pitching in big. Thomas and Eleanor Hayes don't skimp. We can't either. Her words stung, a familiar venom. Daniel was the golden child, the son we all revolved around. I was just the shadow expected to foot the bill. I stood, the chair screeching against the hardwood, shattering the tense silence. I need to think about this, I muttered, storming out before the tears could fall. But as I drove away, my mind wasn't on the money. It was on the secret I'd uncovered, a bombshell that would torch not just Daniel's perfect wedding, but the Carter and Hayes family's pristine facades. Growing up, Daniel always got the spotlight. When he won at private school, my college fund vanished. When he totaled his car, my savings bonds bought him a new one. He needs it more, they'd say. Now, with Lauren Hayes on his arm for 6 months, Mom's obsession had hit fever pitch. The Hayes were Charlotte royalty. Thomas owned half the city's skyline. Eleanor chaired every charity board worth a damn. Mom was hellbent on proving we measured up. At my desk at Goldman Sachs, I scrolled through client portfolios, my focus shot. You okay? My coworker, Tara, leaned over, her brow furrowed. You look like hell. Family stuff, I sighed. Mom wants me to hand over my savings for Daniel's wedding. Tara's jaw dropped. The same Daniel who stiffed you on that $15,000 loan for his food truck flop? I nodded, the memory bitter. Saw your mom at the country club last weekend, she added. She was cozying up to Thomas Hayes over lunch. My stomach lurched. If Tara only knew how cozy. Last week, I'd stumbled onto something sickening. Text messages between Mom and Thomas that explained her desperation. It started innocently enough. She'd asked me over to help with the guest list. You're better with Excel, sweetie, she'd cooed, all sugar and ulterior motives. Dad was at golf, leaving us alone. Her phone buzzed nonstop. At first, she'd snatch it up, but after a while, she got jittery. When she stepped out to the bathroom, another text popped up. Miss you already. Last night was incredible. Cinder Thomas Hayes. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. My hand shook as I scrolled through months of betrayal, secret meetups at the club, trysts in his downtown office, all timed around wedding plans and family events. The wedding's perfect. Mom had written. No one will suspect us. Eleanor's too busy with her charities. Henry's always golfing. Thomas replied. Once the kids are hitched, we'll have more excuses to meet. It wasn't just an affair. They'd weaponized Daniel's wedding as their cover. When Mom returned, I locked her phone, my pulse racing. She breezed back in, oblivious, chattering about floral arrangements. Now, a week later, her demand for my money made twisted sense. It wasn't about impressing the Hayes, it was about securing her alibi. That night, in my downtown Charlotte apartment, her text lit up my phone. Decided on the money yet? The Hayes are hosting an engagement dinner next week. I need to know what to tell them. I stared at it, then typed, "You're right, Mom. Family helps family. I'll do it." Her reply was instant. "Knew you'd see reason. This wedding has to be perfect." Perfect. She had no clue what I was planning. The Hayes estate in Myers Park was a sprawling monument to wealth, 3 acres of manicured lawns and iron gates. Inside, the engagement dinner buzzed with Charlotte's elite under glittering chandeliers. I clutched my checkbook, not to surrender my savings, but to make a stand. "Sophia, darling." Mom rushed over, draped in a dress that screamed new money trying too hard. "So glad you came around on the budget." Thomas Hayes watched us from across the room, his eyes wary. I forced a smile. "Actually, I want to talk about that with everyone." Her face twitched. "No need to, I insist." The dining room hushed as guests settled around the long table. Daniel and Lauren glowed at the center. My brother's smirk practically counting my cash already. I stood, champagne in hand. "I'd like to make an announcement about the wedding budget." Mom's smile vanished. "Sophia, sit down." "No. This is the time." I pulled out my checkbook. Mom asked me to give my $85,000 life savings for Daniel and Lauren's dream wedding. Said it's my duty. The room froze. Eleanor Hayes arched a brow. Thomas squirmed. Dad finally looked up, puzzled. "I've decided family does matter. So I'll match whatever the Hayes contribute dollar for dollar." Thomas coughed. "We're giving $25,000. I wrote a check for exactly that and slid it to Daniel. "There you go, bro, fair and equal." Mom sputtered. "That's not what we agreed." "No. You agreed to bleed me dry without a thought for my future. That's done." Whispers rippled through the room. Eleanor's cool voice cut in. "Very generous, Sophia. Now, about the seating chart." But Mom grabbed my arm, hissing, "How dare you embarrass me?" I met her glare. "Trust me, Mom, this is nothing compared to what's coming." The week after was a pressure cooker. Mom's guilt trips turned to venom. Thomas dodged family events, and Dad started noticing the cracks. At Lauren's final dress fitting, the bridal boutique's mirrored salon reflected more than just our faces, it mirrored our secrets. "Sophia," Eleanor cornered me while Mom and Lauren fussed over the veil. "Have you noticed anything odd with Margaret and Thomas?" Her hands twisted, betraying her calm facade. "Late-night calls, private wedding talks. I found hotel receipts he claims are for business." Before I could answer, Mom swooped in. "Sophia, Lauren needs you." But in the powder room, she pinned me. "Whatever you're planning, don't. You'll ruin Daniel's day." "You mean yours?" I shot back. "Does Dad know?" Her face hardened. "He's finally treating me right. Don't take that away." She slapped me, the sound bouncing off marble. The door swung open. Lauren froze, wide-eyed. Mom plastered on a smile. "Just a seating chart spat." Lauren wasn't buying it. After Mom left, Lauren showed me a text from Thomas to Mom, found on his iPad. "I can't do this wedding. Guilt's eating me. Eleanor suspects. Henry's asking questions. We're done." Her hands trembled. "Tell me this isn't what I think." I took a breath. "Lauren, there's something you need to know." In that bathroom I spilled it all, the text, the lies, the affair. Lauren's wedding dreams shattered in the mirror. "I can't believe this," she whispered. "Dad used my happiness as a shield." Then her voice steadied. "Mom deserves the truth. Your dad too. But not yet. At the wedding, when everyone's there." "You sure?" I asked. "This'll change everything." "They did this," she said. Eyes blazing. "Let's make it a show they'll never forget." The Biltmore Ballroom glittered on wedding day, packed with Carolina's finest. Mom flitted about in champagne silk. Thomas fidgeted by the altar. Eleanor watched him like a hawk, and Dad sensed the storm brewing. Lauren and I had rigged the programs. Every third one held an envelope with printed texts. As maid of honor, I took the mic. "Before we proceed, Lauren and I have something to share." Mom's smile iced over. Thomas paled. Lauren stepped up, radiant yet fierce. "Check your programs for some reading material. Proof 2 people here used this wedding as a cover for their affair." Paper rustled, gasps erupted. Mom bolted up. "Sophia, stop. Too late. Guests read the damning messages." Eleanor's hand covered her mouth. Dad's face drained. Daniel choked. "Mom, tell me this isn't true." Lauren's voice rang out. "These texts show my father and Daniel's mother turned my wedding into a lie. Secret meetups during cake tastings, stolen moments at venue tours." Thomas stammered. "Eleanor, She cut him off, dropping her ring on the table. Dad stood. How long, Margaret? The chaos unfolded. Mom tried to flee, Thomas froze, guests buzzed. Daniel faced me. You tried to warn me. I should have listened. Lauren nodded. Now we know. The wedding died, but Dad hugged me after. I'm proud of you, Sophia. That took guts. As the crowd thinned, I felt no joy in Mom's ruin, just relief. Sometimes, the truest gift is the ugliest truth, even if it costs you everything.